Hi guys, so I read the old proverb that says this: a healed heart is life to the flesh. A healed heart is life to the flesh. In other words, we can put it like this: a mind that is at peace is life to our bodies, to our physical bodies. Do you understand? If we have our minds at peace, then it has a good impact on our physical bodies. And as I looked at it, I thought about it. And the first thing that I thought is this: when it said a healed heart, I thought to myself, wow, so that possibly could mean one of two things. That our hearts or our minds can receive an injury. In other words, we can be hurt in our hearts, or we can be hurt in our minds. And as I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, I began to change what I had thought initially about it. Okay, my thoughts towards it had changed, because initially I thought that as we go through life, different things happen to us, and as a result we receive an injury or a wound, or we receive hurt to our hearts and our minds. And because of that, it's having a negative impact on our bodies. See, I thought it was what happens to us by other people. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's not necessarily what happens to us, but it's more of how we react to what happens to us. The body is having an injury to it, or a wound, or we are inflicting wound to our physical bodies as a result of having negative emotions in our hearts and in our minds. So that led me to think, hold on a minute, it's not what happens to us necessarily, but it's more of how we react to what happens to us and what happens around us. See, someone can rile you up, someone can hurt you, someone can say something that's going to have a negative impact on your mind and on your heart. But it's not what they say or what they do to you, but it's how you react to what they do and to what they say. Okay? So we have to put ourselves in a position, we have to train ourselves to react in the right way. So for each of us, it's going to be different. There isn't a one size fits all, but generally speaking, the first thing I would say is when someone does something negative to us, the first thing I would say is, which is more general, is that we have to forgive that person. Okay, we have to forgive that person. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying that, you know, you're going to be able to do it at the drop of a hat, but that will surely help you and me in terms of not receiving an injury or a wound to our physical bodies. Why? Because by forgiving an individual, we are rejecting that negative emotion that comes and stays, by the way, it stays if we don't forgive. Okay? And I know, as I said, it's difficult. I know it's hard. I have been in situations where I've had to forgive and I found it so hard. But that's the right thing to do. Not necessarily for the individual who's upset you or done wrong to you, but for yourself. For yourself. Why? Because you're rejecting that negative emotion. You're not harboring it. It's not staying within you. And as a result, when it stays within you, just like the proverb says, that it's going to have a negative impact on your physical body. Why? Because there's going to be no peace up here, and there's going to be no peace in there. And that's what you want. That's how we get through life. Having peace here and here.